I tell you what, we'll just get this over with. A lot of people know me as Sevigny, which is right too, but we pronounce it Sevigny.
Sevigny. Okay.
Yeah, it's Sevigny.
Free as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that was.
See what I mean? Like that one will get you.
Well, Dave, Sevigny, thank you for inviting us out here.
You're welcome.
Yeah, and this is what a beautiful place. This is a first for us to do a video interview, and I feel very, very honored that to have you represent Osight. And I just, when I first saw your accolades, I was just like, wow, who is this guy? You know, I naturally am not in the shooting competition world, but I was like, man, wow. But like, this is a first, right? First here, and at your house.
Yeah, my first podcast of the year. First with Osight.
First with Osight.
Yeah, our first training session.
Yeah.
We had a brief training session.
That was
right?
fun. That was fun.
Yeah, if you want to call it that. It was more of a plinking,
yeah.
summary, snapshot, whatever you want to call it.
I've only done plinking, so that was a first for me.
Yeah.
And we don't, and you know, I that's what we really want, you know, firsthand experience, and just, you know, this day and age, there's so many endorsed, you know, paid. We really wanted you to experience it and be like, hey, I can back this, I can support this.
Yeah,
know?
that's something I could speak to, in that any company I've ever affiliated with was because of something that I either already used or wanted to use and have tested and had success with, and that's really the only way I would put my name on it.
That's awesome.
Well, I'm liking, I know we don't want this to read like an infomercial, but yeah, I am liking the optic right now, and the time I spent in it, and it's doing everything that it's advertised to do, and yeah, I look forward to, you know, moving on with it.
If you can dig way back, I mean, I saw your accolade, 22 years, 24 years of...
One was 97.
Seasons?
I mean, 97 was really the first time I competed with a center fire 9mm handgun, and that was in the GSSF. So a lot of people know that, a lot of people who have followed me through the years or whatever, but anyway, it's a nice shooting sport for entry level, but I mean, there's guys that kind of make that their all. I mean, it's really a nice place to go. So that was 97, so going on 28 years ago.
Wow.
And it was really sustained most of those years up until my surgeries in 2017. So it was about a 20-year cycle.
Wow.
But 99's really went, 1999 was the year I kind of had experience in a little of everything. Steel Challenge, Bianchi Cup, USPSA, IDPA, and then some other outlaw type of handgun matches, and I just wanted to compete. I didn't know where to go. I didn't know much about a lot of this stuff. It was the gun I carried. It was a Glock 23, and I shot that in everything.
Wow.
Just a compact 40.
You still have it?
I do. I do still have that one. Yeah. I could show it. I could maybe find it and.
Sure, we could do a little B-roll or
yeah.
something. So, like, did you grow up around guns, and were you?
Not really. No, just something I had an interest in once I got into that age of, you know, I could carry a gun, and living in Connecticut, 20 was that age, and came across a few different handguns. My first one was a H&K, a USP. I had this thing for 40, so that one was a 40 also. And then I got a Glock 23 after that, and found out I liked that one better. But that's the one I use primarily when I would go out competing. So
when did you first begin to, like, I mean, if I read your bio, I think you started and you immediately began to excel and do really well.
Yeah, I mean, so before I stepped in the competition ring, I would still go to the range. I still had a basic understanding of fundamentals and how to at least pull the trigger and learn what to see and that kind of thing. It was really just understanding the rules and the scoring systems and where I needed to be, so to speak, to be competitive. I think at that first Glock match, I may have shot from low ready an 11-yard plate rack. I think I was in the mid-4s. I really didn't really have a baseline okay, where should I be? And I'm seeing guys do it in the high 2s, low 3s. So then I said, okay, well, now I need to see more and be more decisive on the shots and don't shoot too conservative. Like all the things that anybody who's been in this will tell you to climb that skill ladder. And so because I already had that foundation, it was easy to understand. And see, back then, I think they had the way they scored it was hit factor based too, which really threw the curve because of anyone who understands hit factors and how much a half a second high point stage will give you. So, and then later the point systems changed to a time based, so it was a little easier to understand. And but the goal was still the same. You still had to find that edge of, am I seeing enough to score max value? And so it came from what became what I thought, okay, well, how am I ever going to get there? With enough repetitions, I finally got there. And with equipment that was really considered, what are you doing with that? Yeah. But another thing that sport does, you win guns. So I won some guns and started getting 9mm instead of 40s, and ammo was less expensive, lower recoil, quicker recovery time.
Yeah, the 40 kick's pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, so I still had a thing for 40. I would still carry one and everything, but then I kind of got into that, okay, this is my competition gear now, but there was some transparency because the system was the same. Everything felt the same and just less recoil. And so back to your question about first, as we're talking through it. So 97, that was my first experience in a real type of organized competitive major, if you call it that, format. But 99 was that year I really consider my first season because of practical, because that's really where my whole awe was, in the practical games, whether it was defensive pistol or steel challenge or USPSA.
Wow. Did you have have a mentor or a trainer, or you just self-taught?
Early on, no. I mean, it was just me. I was just going to the range, but through the networking and shooting people in shooting sports are some of the greatest people in the world.
That's awesome.
And so had fostered a lot of friendships that I still have to this day. So yeah, and there's been several, and I would be afraid I would miss some if I named them all.
Wow.
But I had
That's awesome.
I mean, I'll just say the first names. I mean, from Bryce to Scott and Ernest and even Robbie. Ran into me and Robbie Latham. Everyone knows who Robbie is. And I'm talking early on.
Yeah.
But the mentor wise though, it would be more, or the question of mentors would be Bryce and Scott, probably.
Wow. And eventually you're just kind of on the same level and you're just kind of helping each other. It's like a circle, right? Kind of.
Yeah. Just they saw I had some talent and trying to shape me a little more, because I was a little wild at first and reckless, and still am today. At times I have to learn those lessons of old, and that's the thing. You're going to be reminded of those things that you're doing wrong, but right. But you want to focus on the positive when you can, but the only way to get better is to identify where your faults are too.
So when you say wild, that means you just...
I was shooting, well, here's the thing, yeah, whenever I say that wild or reckless, it just means you're shooting way faster than you're seeing. That's really what it boils down to. I mean, it's, there's a lot of guys out there that have the horsepower and they have the twitch reflexes and the strength and the smarts to know what they should be doing, but they're just, what's the term, too fast for their own good, right?
Yeah.
And there's time, and today there's times where I get into that mode, and and other times where you're too conservative as well, where you're shooting not to lose instead of shooting to win. So finding that balance, I mean, it's such a razor's thin edge to find that right combination, and the only way to do it is to just stay in it, and at least jumping way forward to the present. I mean, that's where I'm at right now. Just, I went from shooting whatever it was, 12 to 15 events, sometimes multiple divisions if it was Steel Challenge, to 0.
Wow, yeah.
And I've been in and out for the last 7-8 years. But you know, and then your life changes too. You know, I have a lot more responsibility with my work life and family. We have three children, and so just trying to find the time really is the biggest challenge. The motivation's there. It's just trying to find the time for it.
Yeah. Well, as much as you accomplish, you're pretty much, you know, you've achieved so much, and it's kind of like, it's a hobby. It's just for fun, kind of.
Yeah, I mean, but you know, anybody who's, I guess, cut from the same cloth, you know, like me. I mean, you don't think about that. You're just thinking about where you're at right now.
Yeah.
Sure, you can't take away what I've done, but you're always looking ahead, and you always want to stay there. And
I still can't wrap my brain around, you know, 250 major championships. I just like, that's a
I had a long
career and a
time.
half, you know?
Yeah, I had a long time, and I had those seasons where, I mean, it was got to really stack those numbers. And yeah, I've actually kept record of every major I've ever shot since '99.
So, you know, as far as we've launched the brand in January, it's been 4 months, and it's been a wild ride. And you were talking about, you know, what you can stand behind. You know, I'm not afraid to admit that we've had challenges, you know, and certain ones have issues, production, the batteries that didn't, from a different supplier, you know. But anyway, we're very, very active in trying to solve those issues, you know. And I think anything mechanical has a service life, right? You know, just like you keep your competition gun, you know, you don't just mag dump, you just take care of it, because you know every mechanical thing has a service life. So yeah, we ran into some challenges, but I think the main thing is that we stand behind our product, and if any customers have issues with it, we want to take care of them as quick as possible and as thoroughly as possible, you know.
That's right.
But anyway, that's a little
Yeah, and optics are somewhat more complex in that regard. I know with pistols, rifles, whatever it is you're engaging in, especially as a competitor, because nobody's going to run them harder than a competition shooter. But I go nowhere without spare parts.
That's awesome.
Or known, even if I already have confidence in that product, I'm still going to have some measure of spare parts to have on hand in case of a breakage.
I guess that saying was that 1 is none, 2 is 1,
That's
something
right.
like that. Yeah. How do we actually meet? I don't remember.
Yeah, so Zhao, right?
Zhao.
Yeah, he had reached out to me and made his introduction through the internet. And it took me a while, but I finally saw the message and responded, and that's how it began. I got the tests, the samples, and wanted to make sure I had confidence in the product, because there was some interest in me getting into some of the slide-mounted optics divisions. I've shot optics throughout the 25 years. It never was my number one, but I would bounce in and out of those divisions, whether it was open or with frame mounted mostly, and sometimes slide mounted. But it interested me because of what little I did know about Osight, and when I got back to him, he sent me some samples, and I began the testing from that point.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I'm so glad. You know, that was just last fall, right? And it's been pretty amazing. We had a few contacts, you know, and met you at SHOT Show finally, and now I'm at your house.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it worked out good. I know you guys were in town for an event, so.
Yeah, it worked out good.
Well, that wraps up our very first podcast. It was fitting that we kicked things off by a day of firsts. We got to hear about Dave's humble beginnings, his championship winning journey, and we got to check out his killer range where he trained to be the champion that he is. Now, who else would you like us to interview in future podcasts? Please let us know in the comments below, and stay tuned for more Osight sponsored content in the future. See you next time.